Welcome to CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast with Business Solutions MVPs George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Sean the CRM Hobbit Tabor. This episode is brought to you by our friends at KingswaySoft. KingswaySoft is a leading integration solution provider offering software solutions that make data integration affordable and painlessly easy. Thousands of enterprise clients from over 65 countries and regions rely on KingswaySoft to integrate data with various application systems in order to drive their business efficiency and fully leverage their information assets. KingswaySoft is a leading provider of Microsoft Dynamics integration software, including Dynamics 365, CRM, AX, NAV, GP, SL, as well as many other applications such as Marketo, Dropbox, QuickBooks, and Salesforce. Whether you need one solution or several, KingswaySoft works easily within the SSIS platform to make your integration process as quick and easy as possible. Many of their clients have seen 3 to 10 times greater data integration performance after switching to the SSIS integration toolkit.
Don't you wish Microsoft get rid of this Microsoft account versus your work, a corporate account, and things like that?
That's a good question. You even use a Hotmail account for CRM Online anymore? I don't think anybody's on Live anymore.
Oh, not for CRM Online. I mean, in general, in life.
Yeah, it's frustrating to me. I was dealing with that issue today, logging on with my Hitachi one, and then I have a lot of stuff in my CRM Hobbit one, and even though they're linked, it doesn't work.
And then you get this prompt saying which account you meant, which Sean you meant, work Sean or funny Sean.
Right, exactly.
Anyway, shall we start?
Did we? Okay, at the end of the year podcast, I know we talked about LinkedIn acquisition, but did we talk about how it was done?
I think we mentioned it. It just happened a day or two before.
Okay,
but we didn't get into the details about what it's going to look like, and there were some information that came out about that.
Okay.
So what was the deal on that?
Well, the only thing I've seen to this point is that it's essentially going to be the Sales Navigator integration as it is now. There's nothing really going to be changing in the short term, but I've started to see articles about people comparing the acquisition to other acquisitions like Nokia or Dynamics Marketing, things like that, wondering if it's going to fall down the same path. And I don't think it will, given the competitive nature of the data, whereas those other two were kind of niche plays after the fact. This is kind of a ahead of the curve move by Microsoft to acquire a company that could have a real competitive advantage, as opposed to a follow-up, try to follow on to a trend that had already passed them by. So,
well, what people need to keep in mind that might be disappointed that there's nothing more than that at this point is it's only been final for a few weeks.
Right.
Microsoft legally couldn't adapt the source code or anything like that until it was final and cleared by the regulatory officials. Mm-hmm. And so, if I'm Microsoft, and I'm not, and there's good reason for that, but if I was, it's going to take some time to develop what's going to be. It's kind of like I would say with the Field One acquisition. They kept selling Field One, even though it wasn't ultimately the solution that they came out with the field service.
Right.
And, so Microsoft, is very good at making money. And so if there's an existing integration, continuing to sell it makes sense while they work out what the final product's going to look like.
And I that's one of the first things that I'm wanting to see sooner than later is pricing. Is the pricing going to change? How does that involve itself with plans? Is there any part of the plan that makes that integration free or reduced price? That kind of thing is, I think, the first thing, because the Sales Navigator functionality as it sits now is pretty decent. I mean, it obviously everything has the ability to improve, but pricing is really what I'm seeing, and when I talk to clients, is the first thing they're wanting to understand is, how much is it? What can it do? What does the Microsoft acquisition mean? If I buy it now, is it going to change? And if it's going to change, and we just don't have those answers because they haven't made that available to us yet. So,
and I'm wondering, they talked about how there's not going to be integration for Salesforce, but you can still I'm checking, you can still go to the business.linkedin.com page and license it and get it for SAP and for Salesforce, and as a standalone mobile app too, outside of CRM.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when all that collateral. You would have thought that those collateral pieces would have been updated, at least with disclaimers and announcements, on maybe a sunset of that functionality or something. But we'll see how that goes.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. Okay, open a browser and go to dynamics365.com. And you would think that Microsoft would have the URL dynamics365.com, but it's a Cosmo Consult, which is, I think, Australian partner, beat Microsoft to the URL for Dynamics 365.
Wow. You don't think there'll be
That seems somewhat short-sighted to me.
Well, you don't think there'll be a cease and desist on that soon? Where they take that back? I don't know.
What do you think, George?
You cannot cease and desist on the prior facts. So let me do a quick check when it was registered.
That is interesting, though, that they would not have jumped onto that.
Let me just quickly check. Registered on. That's ridiculous. 12th of July 2016. No, that's ms-dynamics-365.com. No, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Dynamics365.com. Oh, it's registered on 25th of December 2013. So Microsoft can take a hike on this one.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
So maybe they had it was, and it's a Dynamics partner, so apparently they had the
foresight.
The foresight, or maybe that was they were like, we're all Dynamics all year long or something. I don't know.
Look, there is plenty of top-level domains now available, like Dynamics365.careers, .engineer, .training, .sex.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of domains. Absolutely.
Well, there was a time about a year and a half ago where the rumor was going around, and maybe this was a real thing they were considering, that they were going to rebrand CRM as Customer Insights, which I guess that term is still here.
Yeah.
But I checked immediately, like the Twitter account and the URL Customer Insights, were picked up. So
I don't know. That doesn't matter. I wanted to ask you guys about LinkedIn, because I just had a conversation 2 days ago with the customer about it, and we were talking about use of LinkedIn in academic community.
Okay.
And it's really interesting what they see as the problem. It's different in business community, I suppose. And I just wanted to take your view on it. We agreed that people fall into two categories: either they love LinkedIn and they're all the time on that and they're updating and following, and the other ones who says, "Well, I hate it and I don't know these people," and it's a Facebook. It's another shape. Facebook in another shape and form. But the one particular thing they had consensus on is that the endorsements. Sean endorsed George on sound quality as a sound quality specialist.
Yeah.
not after the last episode.
They took particular gripe and said, how do you know what I'm working on? It's like they took beef to it, and let's said they said, like, in academic community, that's a big thing. You don't know what I'm working on. How dare you to say I'm a specialist, in molecular engineering or whatever.
I see.
It's
Well, they're taking it more as a recommendation than an endorsement.
no,
So,
but it sounds like it looks like endorsement. Such and such endorsed you on this and that.
Right. So, and on LinkedIn, a recommendation is actually more important than an endorsement. Where in the academic world, an endorsement would be the key thing. So I think they're having an issue with what it's called, because everybody that uses LinkedIn knows that endorsements are. I mean, anybody can endorse anybody for anything. And it's really
it's
just
like,
their perspective. It's not.
Yeah, I heard.
You get a recommendation. That's important.
Yeah. Endorsement more of like, I heard that Sean is working on Batman miniature statue or something like this.
Right.
And
Which he probably is.
Captain America. I have a Captain America shield. Let's not get crazy.
is it like you can whack people with it? Is it gonna sustain the impact?
Well, those arrows, the Nerf arrows, it'll sustain those.
Oh,
I've
nice.
I've tested that out. Yeah, I've tested that out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about just a bit about sound quality, because we've got a message from a fan, I suppose. Someone who said that they enjoy the podcast, but George talk is rubbish. That's what it was in the essence. But rubbish in sound quality, not in quality of the content, naturally. So I just wanted to say that, look, I thought about this, and it's quite challenging for us, right? So we in 2.5 time zones, with Sean traveling all the time and me traveling. So we don't know where we are next time. The last time I did sound like crap because I was in the middle of nowhere. There was internet, but no mobile reception. Believe me, places like these do exist. And I had the puny, whatever I had. It's like puny headset, the Apple things, the headphones,
right.
And they do sound like crap. On the other spectrum, I've got the Blue Yeti microphone, which is tremendous quality, and then you reach the stage where this quality bites you back, because I can't use it. You will hear every time I blink, you will hear that. I can't type because it sounds like boom, boom, boom. And so on.
Somebody shared with me an email they received from their friendly Salesforce sales rep, and it shows, I think, an interesting picture of how they're responding to the messaging around Dynamics 365. So I thought maybe we could go through part of it and maybe respond real time here to them. So started with, I hope you've had a wonderful holiday season, which is a nice greeting after the holiday season.
Always
I wanted
nice.
to share some competitive information with you, in case you hadn't heard. I've learned that the Microsoft CRM product that your company name built on will be obsolete in the next 1 to 2 years.
Whoa.
Bob Stutz, who ran Dynamics CRM, is now the Chief Analytics Officer at Salesforce, and he is acutely aware of the pain and effort that will be required for customers when that replatforming takes place. Okay, first of all, does Salesforce not have one or more releases every year? Are if you're on a current Salesforce release, will it be considered obsolete in 2 to 3 years?
Well, either that or they're saying Microsoft's so innovative that they're just changing everything more frequently than they do. It sounds crazy so far.
No. But let's not take away the credit when it's due. The email says in number 3, I'm jumping ahead, but since you brought the point up, how will Microsoft balance replatforming with innovation? If Microsoft's ability to innovate in CRM stumbles, how would that impact Bracket's company name? So they do admit that Microsoft is innovator in CRM space, which they never did before.
That as a weird reverse compliment, is like
kind of, yeah.
They have so reading this, if Microsoft is going to lose their ability to innovate or stumble, they have the ability and they are an innovator.
It's like if someone has a tremendously powerful and fast car, it's like saying, hey, I know your car is really fast now, but how are you going to avoid speeding fines? Here, there,
And saying that Bob Stutz, now the chief analytics officer at Salesforce, acutely knows the pain and effort for replatforming. Saying
Which
the man
he brought his pain on.
knows the pain. I can't disagree with that statement.
Let me correct that. He knows how to inflict pain.
Yes.
The man who brought you the swiping right tiles in CRM 2013.
Swiping right? What?
The navbar tiles. You've already blocked this out of your memory.
No. I did have a tip on using tilting mouse button to navigate that.
Yeah. So you used to have everything on one screen, but that was bad. So now you just swipe right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's. You already jumped ahead of me, but let's see. Below is a description and some questions you may want to ask your Microsoft contact or partner. Thanks in advance. May I just say, anytime I get an email that says thanks in advance, it's never anything that somebody would really thank me for, or it's never something you really want to do. It's never thanks in advance for having that ice cream.
I think this is one of the first times in a positive, taking this in a positive, this is one of the first times that I've seen Salesforce do like a preemptive strike on something innovative with Microsoft, right? But the key to this email is they keep talking about business edition. Like you're going to need to go from enterprise to business.
Hold on.
Right.
That's because they, I think you have to give credit to Salesforce marketing, right? So the email opens up with a dismissal of enterprise edition. Because it says SMFT Dynamics CRM / Dynamics 365 Enterprise Edition brackets rebrand. And that's it. So they dismissed it outright that it's a rebrand, nothing more. And then there's this magic bullet business edition, which is complete replatforming of the entire thing. And they make it sound like it's an upgrade.
Right. And it's saying like, oh, this new thing is going to be Azure based instead of the old XRM platform. But in reality, we're all going to be Azure based soon, and that's not a difference in platform. That's just where your server lives.
I'm not sure that we are not right now.
Yeah, how do you know? That's a good point. So,
but the question is, do you really care?
So, question 1. Will your company be able to move from Enterprise to Business Edition of Dynamics 365? The best response I heard to this one is, can you migrate from Word to WordPad? Okay. Number 2, what will happen when your company is required to migrate to the new Dynamics 365 platform? Which the funny thing is, the person who got this email, we've already moved their environments to Dynamics 365. And so it's like, you mean that where we pushed that button last week and all of a sudden we had a Dynamics 365 environment as mentioned in tip number 802 or something. So there again, this is definitely grasping at straws. And now again, I don't know if this is the official Salesforce marketing message or if this is the efforts of a lone ninja sales, enterprising Salesforce sales rep or not, but it's interesting, and I've seen in the past where Microsoft sales reps have tried to latch onto uncertainty. You all remember when with the NA14, the Salesforce North America server went down for a day, all the tweets that were going on about that. So I wouldn't put it past Microsoft to do the same thing when new changes. But it's, in this case, it's pretty flimsy arguments, in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's just scare tactics to get a meeting, because once they get into the building, then they can start doing their sales process. So, it is what it is. If you have any real understanding of Dynamics 365, that what they're talking about is silliness. But some customers depend on the partners to give them that information. So this could scare them into having second thoughts.
I want to know, does this work for anybody? Does it ever really work to say, you're in danger, give us money? If you're scared of this platform change, so change to a totally foreign platform where you'll have to do a custom data migration and reconfigure everything, just because the rebranding of CRM to Dynamics 365 seems a little bit of a stretch to me.
Yeah, it's. I wanted to sum it up from developers' perspective, and to say that I'm just going to repeat this mantra until people get that in their heads, or developers get in their heads, addressing the XRM platform migration to Dynamics 365. It sums up: organization service is not going anywhere. That's it. Web API, Schmeb API, the good old organization service is not going anywhere. So XRM developers can sleep at night, which they probably don't, but that's another topic.
I know some that sleep on the job, so.
Is that what, like when you say, can I sleep on it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a chance this last week to play with the app designer a little bit more than I had, and I'm still not totally sure I understand exactly who's a fit for it and who's not, but I think I have a little bit better picture from when I played with it. And my takeaway, and I'd like to get what you guys think, is, for those of you who don't know, the app designer is basically the ability to build mini apps, if you will, or if you have a line of business solution that you're developing for CRM that you put in its own kind of container, and that's all that's in there. So it defines only the sitemap links, the dashboards, the entities, and the layout that appear there. What I like about it more than once I got playing with it is, number one, it's pretty easy, more of a demo scenario, but wanted to have a more scaled back experience. And compared to taking a full CRM environment and then scaling it back and cutting things out, I just spun up an app. Let's say you have a disaster relief scenario where you've got, people that have, the scenario was we have, people, and you have their certifications, who's trained on welding and CPR and all this stuff. And so you got people, you got certifications, you got disaster jobs, and sure, you could take CRM and just cut the stuff out, but it was very easy, given you're starting from nothing and building up instead of starting from everything and building down. And then the sitemap, I put 3 links in, pretty quick. And what I see, my first thought was, this is for ISVs that want to have like an industry solution that's just scaled there. But if you had a regular deployment where you have sales and customer service in different groups, you probably wouldn't use it. You'd probably still do the old way. But what I'm seeing now is, if I have a shared environment that has a application for a specific focus where they're not like the others, I just want to give them a scale back environment, I'm warming up to the idea of App Designer for those as well. What have you guys found?
Can I ask you, how is it different? Let's assume in CRM, in old CRM, you were given ability to build multiple sitemaps and give user a choice which one to use. Would that be the same, or is there a fundamental difference?
I think the sitemap is one of the key differences. Whereas so yeah, I think that the sitemap, if you had the ability to assign role-based sitemaps, that would go a lot of the ways. The other thing is, though, think dashboards. You can role enable dashboards, but that's a lot of work if you got a bunch of different dashboards and you got to go into each one and make sure you got the right security role. Versus if I build an app, I can choose I only want these 2 dashboards in the app.
Can you go down to the view level? Can you say these views, but not that view?
I believe you can go to the view level, the form level, the dashboard level. So again, nothing you couldn't do other than the sitemap is the big one that you can't do. Everything else, I think you could do with role-based security, but
you cannot select views. You can share
no, that's a good point.
Yeah, well, you can share them, but that's a workaround. So I suspect that in the future we'll be able to put security roles between the apps. It's not like, okay, let's say you've got your donation management solution, and then you have your HR solution within the same Dynamics 365, but then you create 2 apps, and you say, well, depending on which hat I'm putting on, I can use either this one or that one. But in the future, I suspect you'll be able to say, hey, I want to give George permission to use donation one because he likes taking money from people, but not HR one because he doesn't like giving money to people. So, and that would go down, even though I would have full permissions to use HR entities, I wouldn't be able to get to it anyway. Hold
on just a second. If I go to settings and go to my apps, which is basically the list of apps, I think you already can role enable one.
No. I understand that currently, yes, but I can fire up, I don't know, XRM Toolbox and get to those entities bypassing your app and what's not. But I'm saying that I suspect in the future we'll have more selection in terms of permissions to use the app as opposed to permissions to use the entities. So I wouldn't need to go and granular say, George doesn't need access to HR entity, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying George doesn't have access to HR application, and then the system would figure out, HR application uses HR entity, so George doesn't need permission to access that. That would be neat.
It's actually something I've shown an existing client that, a 2015 or 2016 client that has these different groups that kind of run into each other sometimes, where you gotta go to the lowest common denominator to make everybody happy in like sitemap layouts and things like that, or have so many different areas that it gets crazy. Where this, I think, can be a big sales point in simplification. Hey, good news. We can, separate these totally, still have the shared environment, shared database. Executive level can look at a dashboard and see both. But as far as, we really can now make it so the right hand doesn't know that the left hand's even there.
I still would love them to give us an option to display the navigational map, not when I click on the app on the left-hand side, but kind of go, show me. And it shows like a single window mashup of navigation areas where I can go to and things like that. Sort of similar to the current navigation bar. When you drop it down, it sort of shows like variety of areas. I would love to see that without going into application first. I would like to quick peek into application navigation before going into that application. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I think so. So right,
give me a preview of the sitemap.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
This episode of CRM Audio is sponsored by Alexa CRM. WordPress powers more than 25% of all the websites on the internet, and is the #1 choice for blogs, websites, and portals because it's open source, simple to use, reliable, and extendable. Dynamics CRM has become a de facto standard in sales, marketing, customer service, and industry solutions. Now they can work together thanks to the Dynamics CRM WordPress plugin built with love by the Alexa CRM team. Capture forms, engage your users and customers, all without writing any code. Control your site in WordPress, keeping your data in CRM. To build the plugin, Alexa CRM has created an open source Dynamics CRM PHP toolkit, unlocking the world of Dynamics for PHP developers. Download your 30-day trial from alexacrm.com/plugin and instantly create a portal by connecting your CRM and WordPress site. We thank Alexa CRM for their sponsorship of CRM Audio.
Other news, the version 2.0 of Learning Paths is finally out. We've all been waiting for. It's actually rolling out as we're recording here, so when this is released, it will be out. So I haven't been able to touch and feel and experiment with the final version, but we talked about, like I mentioned in our predictions last week or last year, I guess it was. This is something that I'm getting a lot of enthusiasm from the guided process. I'm seeing, especially when it's not a new deployment, I think it'd be helpful there to roll out the processes when you're rolling out a new widget or a new
Right.
something that you don't want to retrain everybody, but you want to let everybody know. Here's what I want to see, and I will definitely give a shout out to the first person who can come closest to recreating the getting started woman from 2013 with the Dynamics 365 learning path.
How about Clippy?
Yeah. And as long as, and I haven't seen this, so if this is known and I just haven't seen it, forgive me, internet. But as long as the learning path authoring is solution aware, that's fantastic. Hopefully that's the case. But if we get authoring without solution portability, that's gonna be a negative.
All right, so here's the question that I'm wondering, because it seems like the one Google property that Microsoft really likes is YouTube, because YouTube is the #1 place for videos, and so all these things that like learning paths where you can embed videos, they're all like YouTube videos.
Right.
What are you thinking people will do though? Because I don't think any company will want to put their internal training videos hosted on YouTube.
You could have private YouTube
Yeah,
channels.
I was just about to say you can have private YouTube channels.
Is it totally? I mean, is it totally private, or is it like obscured by you have to have the direct link to it?
I think it's private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Technically
think you can
speaking,
get
look,
knowing.
if you're talking about corporate distribution, like corporate video distributions, people do use other platforms for that, like Vimeo or some other platforms, or even Reuters, whatever they call now, the video platform, which is kind of designed for private corporate distribution rather than public, which was made private. Definitely. Definitely, there are some other options if you want to. And I would be more concerned with other developments. I was playing with the preview, it's private preview of CafeX or Live Assist or Chat, as otherwise known. And with that, and with new portals and event management and so forth, I'm not sure how those decisions are made, but sometimes choice of third-party vendors, accompanying vendors in the solution, makes your eyebrows go up. I'm not talking about, for example, CafeX itself or event management itself. For event management, you would want to use something like webcasts or webinars and things like that. And when it comes out, the choice of default partner would would take you by surprise. Let's put it this way. So I'm not sure I'm allowed to mention what is it, but when it comes out of public preview, it's kind of it's expensive one. Let's put it this way: expensive platform.
So for people who don't know, I mean, we haven't really talked about CafeX. What is CafeX?
Oh, sorry. I was talking about in terms of choice partner. It's not about CafeX. I was talking about the event management and portals. I'll talk about that in a second. But let's go back to cool stuff. CafeX. CafeX Live Assist. It's been around for ages. It's a web-based chat solution, but it goes way deeper than that. So in the first release, and I'm just reading from the partner-facing documents, so I assume I can publicly talk about it. What will be coming up? So currently it's in preview, and it will run through January. I did have a chance to take it for a spin, and I liked it. I liked it very, very much. I have to say that the document describing setup was exceptionally long, but because it went screen by screen, I managed to get it up and running like in 15 minutes. So effectively, what it would include, the very first release would include chat capabilities and across browsers and mobile devices. I'm not sure about the mobile device timeframe, but across the browsers, the first release definitely across the browsers, and it would include co-browse capabilities.
Yeah, so you're providing support for a client, and you're for a software of some kind, like your Alexa WordPress solution, and you could take control of their browser and do that, which is good, because this is one thing where, while it was somewhat maligned by some, the Parature solution had some really, in chat, it had some really cool features. I believe they had co-browse, they had some cool translation stuff, and so partnering with CafeX.
Sadly for Parature, their agent was a very private one, very non-embeddable and heavy-duty sort of machinery. Unlike that, CafeX will have an option. You'll have an option to run a standalone in browser, like agent side of things. Okay, so you nominate users who are going to have CafeX or Live Assist, CRM users. And then those users, what they will get, they can access Live Assist agent panel inside the browser, or they can get a side panel inside their CRM or Dynamics 365. You get a panel on the right-hand side, collapsible one, or you get a hosted control inside a unified service desk. So either one allows you to get to it, access, see who's on call, people calling in, take the call, and then from inside the call, you should be able to insert links to knowledge base articles, give pre-canned responses, and record chat session back into CRM.
Okay. So if you go to the CafeX website, you can go to the Live Assist for Dynamics 365 and sign up for a trial now. Is that the same thing you're doing the private preview of, or is that something beyond?
I think so, but it will take time to roll out the trial, because general availability is scheduled, I think, February, March timeframe. Don't hold me to that. I think February. I will include live chat and co-browsing. In the future, though, there will be voice and video calling as well.
But so now, if it has the chat, the voice, and the video calling, and you have a client who's already using Skype, how is that? Is it a complement to that? Is it yet another VoIP tool that they have to manage, or how would you see that?
That I don't know. I do suspect that voice and video calling will might actually use Skype API. So
interesting.
So look, that's how I would do it, because new Skype API is awesome. So
do you see the biggest value for this in USD, since that gives kind of the unified experience where you can have a chat window on the side and have your Dynamics pages? If you don't have USD, is the main integration just putting the chat history into Dynamics? What's the integration point if you don't have USD?
Okay, when you have USD, that's a huge selling point, and it's a huge boost. I'm glad to see it's a huge boost for USD itself. Because one of the first questions during the trainings that come up is that, okay, it's, CTI is all nice and swell, and we can take the phone calls and we can read emails. What about chat? And we would always go like, Exactly. So now it's out of the box, it works. And the big deal about USD that you can pull in the data from a variety of sources. CRM is main source, but other sources as well. And you can pre-build canned responses. Let's say you can pull data from financial system. And you're talking to someone about their, outstanding balance. And this balance can come from, from your ERP system. And at the same time, like customer name and history would come from CRM. So, and you can pre-built very personal responses, so you can engage very quickly into multiple web chats at the same time, and manage them very, very efficiently, send links to knowledge base articles, and so forth. So in CRM, let's say you have this Dynamics 365, you have this side panel if you're an agent, and you can be a supervisor, agent, or administrator. Then, definitely you can push the chat back to CRM, but you can also pull information from CRM like knowledge base articles. That's what I've seen. That's what I've been playing with. I'm not sure about deeper integration, like can you pull other information? That way USD would come into play if you need a deeper integration. For now, it's just, it's a simple one. You have sidebar, and you can push it to CRM, which is nice, another activity called chat activity, and it works really nicely. Now, the thing is that the widget for the client side of things comes into portals, and it comes very easily. Like you copy a bunch of script, and you just paste it into your template, site template, in somewhere in the header, and you're done, right? So after that, it can take authenticated versus non-authenticated and so forth. And that's where I didn't spend time digging into it, but you go into live chat itself, and it's mind-boggling the decision tree you can build, when to engage customers and how to engage customers. That side is like mind-boggling. Literally, the functionality is there. So you can, for example, decide to show the live chat widget on the website depending on the path that customer took to browse your website. So if they went to this page, then to this page, then they added product to the cart, but then they're trying to leave the site, at that point in time, you can say, really, can we give you 100% off so you can stay? It's really, really powerful, and it's that easy.
Can someone access the chat from a mobile device?
From what?
From a mobile, from like a phone.
Yeah, let me see when. I'm not sure about the time frame. Oh,
Because wouldn't
mobile.
it be
Okay, it
interesting?
will be coming later in 2017.
Because wouldn't it be interesting a scenario where you have a field agent on, using field service, and have them be able to chat back live to someone while they're on site?
Yeah. It will be coming. So the capability will be launched across browsers. On the mobile web apps, it's calendar year, so second half of 2017. But it's coming.
All right. So George, since you really dug into this, and now I consider you a web chat expert, I just went to LinkedIn and endorsed you for web chat.
Oh,
Do we have any tool recommendations? I have one that, again, is kind of a simple tool. I was playing around in the Office 365 store, and I found this thing called the Office at Work Office 365 Mail Responder, which is a out-of-the-office response manager kind of on steroids. And what it does is, I never know what to say in my out-of-the-office response, but it has choices. I will be out of the office, traveling, sick, at an event, vacation, meeting. And then you choose when you're back in the office, you have no access, limited access, full access. It basically guides you through where you can select it and it will write it for you. And you can choose other languages. So you can have English, German, Spanish. So I think George, being a international man of mystery and world traveler, you need this because you could have 10 languages in your out of the office response.
you know what I hate is when out of the office response is actually 7 times longer than the actual message.
Yeah.
You can contact us on these numbers, but if those numbers are not available, you can call me on that number. If that is not available, please email. Otherwise, you stuffed. And it's like going on and on and on. And we're green, so please do not print this email. So yeah, really out of the office, the one thing I use, and with move to Office 365, I start to miss it dearly, is we used on premises, we used software called Exclaimer, which was basically a very powerful server-based decision making system, how to route your email and how to send auto response, how to reject, rewrite headers and things like that. And you could say, for everyone in the office, when someone emails this email, auto reply with this standard canned response, and reroute email there, and so on, or do it only for that one, or there's a variety of options, and that would include something like when I type email, regardless of the platform, I don't need to put signatures on a mobile device or web or anything like that, because it would go through Exchange Server. I would insert my default signature automatically into all my emails. So yeah, I do miss that. I start missing this software daily. Anyway, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, the things I've been playing with in preview, is a new portal preview. I can't talk much, but people know, it's known fact that event management is coming into CRM and portals. And one thing to remember about portals, that they integrate deeply with CRM, and they only surface functionality that is already available in CRM. So to make event management in portals, what Microsoft is doing, or had to do, is to implement an event management system inside CRM. And I have to say, I liked what I saw. It's a decent one. It's probably, would be unfair to compare it to something like Eventbrite, established players in a niche. We did talk about this, like you cannot compare CRM solutions with the vertical specific for the industry.
Right.
CRM has more breadth in it rather than depth in any specific solution. So, but event management, I try to plan few kind of random events like CRM audio podcast meeting in Geneva or something like this, and it worked extremely well. As I said, that's where the choice of default vendor, you can hook up your custom vendors, but the choice of vendor for the webcast left me kind of aghast. I was surprised. Once it's out,
it would seem to me that we have a pretty good event. It's time for Microsoft to revamp the out-of-the-box campaign entity. They stopped with Dynamics Marketing, but that's dead. And granted, they've got the relationship with Adobe Marketing, but that's not complete yet and not for everybody because it's so big. And there's still a big need for just general campaigns. And events and campaigns go together because typically if you're planning an event, especially if it's a trade show or a marketing event or something, you've got marketing campaign details, and capturing the cost of that into a basic campaign that's tied to a marketing list just makes sense. So Microsoft, get the defibrillator paddles out and go over to the campaign entity and wake it up and renovate it. Renovate it for the new year.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same thing what they've done to resource and bookings. So event management comes out, and it would turn out that managing the event is very similar to managing the campaign, and therefore over the time, the underlying event management engine would be declared to be a campaign engine, and old campaign would be deprecated. The same thing would happen to bookable resources, right? They're still resources, as useless as they ever were inside the service. But then there were bookable resources that came over from Field 1 and project services. And those bookable resources are now available. They're available to be used standalone, but they only stand alone if they have field services or project services. So you have to bring one of those in and then basically remove it through the app designer if you don't want people to use.
Well, I don't think the legacy campaign entity is bad. The bad stuff about it was they had certain fields that were kind of strange that nobody used. That if you took that off, it would break it, or you wouldn't locked fields. But it had a lot of the tie to marketing lists and campaign responses alone gives it merit, I think, to keep the build on the old one instead of
campaign responses. Have to agree that was useful. It's always been useful. Let's put it this way. I use it quite frequently. The campaign responses.
And make it work on mobile, and we'll be there.
Okay, so event management is coming up. It's looking really, really good. And on the portal side, the Live Assist will be available as a widget for the portals out of the box, and authentication can be done, so single sign-on. So you'll know in your agent chat, you'll know who the user is. Like you can request that user is authenticated, so they log on with their portal login, and then in your live chat, whether in USD or inside the browser, you can see the information pulled from CRM, the contact information pulled from CRM. So that's neat, very neat. The other thing about portals that is available now in the latest build is multilingual capabilities. Finally, if whoever if some of our listeners used ADX Studio and they know the pain setting up multilingual sites. So you have to set up multiple sites, and then you have to deal with the slugs on the site and so on and so forth. Now it's that easy. Basically, you install language into CRM, and then inside the portal, you say, I want this portal in that language as well. And then suddenly all your content becomes like multi-faced. So you go to the page and you can declare some elements on it, be multilingual, and the content of the page will be available in those multiple languages. And it's all taken care of automatically. So I quickly enabled a few things, and it just works like a charm. So really,
Did that
really
have a
easy.
dependency on the language pack in CRM?
Yes, you do need to install language in CRM first. The reason for that is that things like entity forms and entity lists and web forms, they take metadata out of CRM. So you do need this metadata in the language that you're trying to surface in the portal. Having said that, you can actually create a portal language is not quite CRM language, so you can take a spin on it. For example, you can have a CRM language is English, but you can declare in a portal, create a copy of the English, and finally we can have a website in English Australian, for example. In CRM, there is no English Australian, right? So it's only 1033, which is English US.
You just got to add mate at the end of every sentence, right?
Yeah, shorten it. Abbreviate everything. So you, Joel Lindstrom, would be Lindstry, and Sean would be Tabby, and the podcast would be, I don't know, Poddy. Right after Brecky. So yeah, we just abbreviate everything and put G'day. But yeah, like things instead of good morning, you say G'day, mate, on your website. And you would declare like artificial language inside. You create your own language inside the portal. You still map it to English in CRM, so the metadata can come across, the labels and things like that. But then you can create multiple facets of your site. So yeah, it looks really, really good. Really good.
Are you going to rebuild the CRM audio site as a Dynamics portal?
Well, easy there. Easy there.
We're kind of get you back for your question about my survey from the year-end podcast where I used SurveyMonkey.
Anyway, so that's it with previews, I think. That's what I've been playing with. And I have to say, portals look really good. I have to give credit to the entire former ex-ADX Studio team. They're doing a great job integrating it, and it's full steam ahead, and it looks awesome.
This has been CRM Audio, the Microsoft Dynamics CRM podcast. You can hear previous episodes on our website, crm.audio. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio, or leave us a comment on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CRM podcast. If you have any topic suggestions or questions that you would like for us to answer on a future episode, please drop us an email at voice@crm.audio. Special thanks to Dale Simmons for our theme music. Go check out his website, dalesimmons.com. Please join us next time on CRM Audio.